Oh shit. Oh, I'm unprepared for this.
Yeah, well, that's your
There,
job.
there it goes. I think when my name gets on the intro and I finally get those sweet Benzo Rehab employee benefits, I'll start showing up for work on time, or showing up.
That's not only fair, it's valid. Hello and welcome to the Benzo Rehab Dungeon, episode 113. It is the 14th of October, 2022. I'm your host, Michael Deebs. I am joined, as always, by John, the producer, who never ever has an issue with attendance or calling in or just not showing up. No call, no show, anything like that. Real hard, dedicated worker of the Benzo Rehab Dungeon. And with that in mind, John, how are you doing today, sir?
Oh, it's great. It's amazing being able to work here. I can, sometimes I sleep through my alarm, which, I'm glad that I can, wake up for my alarm, look at my phone, see that it says wake up for the Benzo Rehab Dungeon, and then decide
just hit
to
snooze on that motherfucker.
In fact,
or do you just go straight to dismiss? You don't even try to wake up sometimes, do you?
Yeah, no, I actually go into my alarm settings and then I completely delete the alarm to make sure that it doesn't, disturb me.
That's good. Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
it'd be a real shame if it ruined your sleep schedule, which is constant, I guess.
Yeah, it's rough.
It sounds like it, man. Hey, well, cool. Cool and good. Glad to hear you're doing okay today.
How are you?
Bad, man. I'm bad. I'm in a bad way, John.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Viewers and listeners of the podcast will by now have seen the title of today's episode, which is In Defense of Alex Jones. We'll talk more about that later. But things aren't good right now, man, and I feel it in my heart that we got to talk about this issue. But we've got a bunch of other stuff to talk about first before we get to the Alex Jones stuff.
So you do have suicidal thoughts for having like and any type of empathy response to Alex Jones?
No, not really. I have gotten a lot of concerned messages about the episode title already, which I find very funny. But we'll talk about that subject later. I'm actually doing moderately okay. Just to let people know, because I don't know if everybody listens to the end of the podcast all the time. Next week we will be off. I am attending a wedding. Danko will be there as well, interestingly enough. Also some other friends of the show, so it'll be a good time, a nice time to relax, and probably a much needed break from whatever the fuck this thing is, the Benzo podcast. So just to let everyone know, we will be off next week, so enjoy this week while you got it. Maybe check out some of our extended catalog of episodes, many of which are okay.
So, I think I might show up to work more if you passed out some of these cancel work forms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe we talked about this a couple of episodes ago when you actually showed up, but here's your reminder. Next week, you can turn off your alarm. It's okay. Nobody's gonna be mad at you.
Yeah, I just happen to be awake right now. I have not added the alarm back.
That's cool. So anyways, we talked a bit about Elon Musk last week, as the viewer and listener will know. Um, but I wanted to revisit the subject of Elon Musk because interesting things are kind of going on in his sphere of influence, and something that I missed, which I'm not sure how I missed. Well, I know how I missed it. It's that the Tesla bot doesn't seem to be anything useful, and I thought it was like from something way back.
There's a
But what?
Tesla bot.
Yeah. A while back, Elon Musk unveiled the plan for the Tesla bot, and by doing so, or while doing so, he played a clip of a man in a robot-looking suit dancing, um, because he had absolutely fuck all to show for his project. Now he has something to show for his project. That's a few links in though. And we'll take a look at that and we'll mock it a bit. But the first thing I want to look at is this story here.
Are we
Um,
placing bets on whether or not the robot's first job is to be a cop?
if that's the robot's first job, I'm okay with it because the cops have never been easier to run away from at that point. But so Elon Musk, he's a little jokester, he's a little trickster, and part of his grift has always been uh, basically he's got this army of people who love him no matter what he does, no matter how hard he fails. They'll always find some way to say, "Hey, well, at least Elon Musk is doing, this cool thing, and he's doing his best to improve society or whatever." Um, and part
Hmm.
part of the way that he maintains this relationship with his army of weird nerds who won't ever look at him critically in any way, is he does these little goofs, these little jokes to distract from whatever his company is on fire, or like one of his cars is literally on fire, or his solar powers are literally on, or his solar powered systems are literally on fire, or SpaceX isn't really doing anything interesting.
Well,
So
yeah,
go
and
ahead.
there was another tech billionaire that's been going to space like much longer and more successfully
Yeah,
before like
Richard
Elon Musk.
Branson, right?
Yeah, yeah, like Virgin or Verizon's
Yeah,
fucking
it's
CEO,
Virgin.
founder or
Yeah.
something. Yeah.
And I wouldn't say he's necessarily been like more successful.
Well,
SpaceX does have a lot of launched satellites, which is something. But as far as like tourist space travel, yeah, he's been more successful in that. Um,
well, like kind of like Tesla's solar power though. Like there's been companies that have been developing the technology longer and
oh yeah,
probably
just
had
about
less
any
bugs and stuff.
right, just about any
Yeah.
company other than I think it's Solar Run, or I forget which company he bought up and then turned it into like Tesla Solar or whatever. But basically any company aside from Tesla or whichever company Elon Musk owns. I I should know this. We talked about it like 3 weeks ago. But
Yeah, it's like gonna be better quality
yeah,
and not be something like dumb.
right. Yeah, I mean, like the power wall stuff that Tesla sold, like um
I mean,
notoriously not good as far as like charge controllers and solar like systems are concerned. Um
well, yeah, and like I think the only reason why like you can just install fucking a Tesla power pack wall thing on your like on like the wall of your house. It's got to be because their engineers fucking I don't know how to get fucking like the government's fucking regulators fucking like hard or something like that.
Yeah, so we'll talk a little bit about that stuff in a bit. Not related to Tesla's energy projects or anything like that, but Elon Musk and his relationship with the government specifically. Um But anyways, things for Elon Musk haven't been going well, obviously. And so his latest distraction is he put up a scent, a perfume called Burnt Hair, and within hours it sold $1 million worth of this. He joked about it being the way that he was going to pay for the acquisition of Twitter that he's basically now forced to go through with. um it's his way of trying to be like the I'm not mad or coping, I'm actually trolling everyone sort of guy. um and again, this is how he keeps his little army of nerds that will never criticize him, because he does something like this and like, oh shit, yeah, it's based Elon doing something to troll people again. um it's kind of bizarre, and he really just kind of like relies on these dupes to keep his stock prices higher than, like, Tesla's stock as a car company is like hyper inflated to what it should be, considering um electric cars aren't anything new. Teslas aren't even like,
Good.
honestly, I mean, they're decent cars, but they're not nearly what they're billed to be. Then you have things like, where is the fucking Tesla truck that was promised like 3 or 4 years ago now. Um,
Yeah, I
all,
think
all
that
these all these projects that like the Tesla taxi that was going to be rolled out, that was supposedly going to be like an automated self-driving vehicle that, if you bought it, you would actually make more money than you would spend buying the vehicle. Which doesn't make any fucking sense from like an investor standpoint. Why would you sell something to someone else if they're going to make more money off of it than you did, right? Uh,
yeah. Well, and it just it doesn't make like any sense because even like the other car companies mistakes that obviously they've made uh like Ford, not to suck Ford's dick or anything, but
all right, Ford guy.
they've literally been developing this technology like longer than Elon Musk has, and
Yeah.
now and like it would be cheaper and more effective, like say a snowstorm happened, to own one or two the Ford electric trucks than to own a fucking like Tesla fucking like solar panel and power fucking bank, and
Right,
it
yeah,
costs like a third of what the Tesla home fucking solar panel shit would cost.
right. So again, haha, we all had some laughs. Elon Musk, because he has an army of stupid nerds that will never criticize him,
Yeah.
managed to sell. I think this was selling at like $100 a bottle, so he sold like a couple thousand within the first hour. Yeah,
People are so
stupid,
dumb.
dumb, but it is part of how he maintains his little army of nerds, is by trolling people, acting like he's not owned when in fact he is owned. I mean, for Christ's sakes, the guy couldn't even keep a chick named Grimes around. Um,
who like worships him.
right? Yeah.
And I think
Still
still
somehow
does.
like is weirdly supportive of him. I don't understand. I don't
Yeah,
care.
she just she listens to her therapist's instructions, not their advice.
Right. The therapist is like, well, as long as you do that part of it, I guess.
As long as you don't have actual contact with him, you can jerk off to a shrine of him.
Exactly. There you go.
Yes.
So let's go to the actual stuff going on with Elon Musk now. In his little kerfuffle with Twitter, Twitter is trying to make Elon Musk buy it, which is kind of a weird thing to be in, but it makes sense because Twitter has notoriously had trouble being a profitable company for a long time, and if somebody stupid had to buy Twitter for, let's say, $44 billion, way above what it's probably actually worth as a company, because it never really makes that much profit and it has trouble being profitable. Um, that would be the best case scenario for all the shareholders involved, right? They get this huge payout essentially. Um,
Yeah, right. Like it's like they made a like a are they in like a position where they've like made a utility practically? Uh and like Twitter just is not allowed to die. Like it won't die. So like everybody attached to it just like I
yeah, I
don't know,
mean,
takes a
it's
hundred
not
years off of
a
their wealth.
utility. It's not a utility by any means, of course. But it, I mean, it's one of those things where there's so many tech investors, and
It's
when
too big to fail.
kind of, yeah. I mean, it's basically the company has to. This is the general rule for all publicly traded companies, right? Anything that has shareholders, the imperative is that you have to make as much profit for those shareholders as possible. So any decision you make has to be made in the interest of the shareholder. So yeah, Twitter kind of can't die on purpose, because then whoever's running Twitter at the time, I forget the current CEO's name, doesn't really matter because they're all just kind of the same guy, right? Um, but if the CEO like intentionally tried to make Twitter die, he would not be upholding his fiduciary responsibility to the shareholders, and would thus be liable for any conceivable lost profits or anything like that. So Twitter being bought by Elon Musk is good for the shareholders, and so Twitter has to make Elon Musk buy it. Is kind of where we're at. On top of that, in these dealings, and basically, to recap all this and to get people back up to speed, if anything's been forgotten, Elon Musk waived his investigatory rights when he was making the deal to buy Twitter, because he was sad because Grimes left him. Um, and like part of his way of like getting back at her or people making fun of him on Twitter was to buy Twitter, or to offer to buy Twitter. Um,
I mean that's literally got to mean that he like vetoed his team of like 23 or 57 fucking
oh yeah, I can't.
acquisition lawyers,
Right, I can't imagine any of his lawyers were like, "Oh yeah, you should totally waive your investigatory rights while you're signing all these like preliminary deals." Um, and basically then Elon Musk, I guess, woke up from whatever haze he was in after losing Grimes. um I don't know, maybe he had too much fresh air or something, uh and he couldn't handle it, but he woke up from this haze and realized, oh fuck, I should probably look into like what I'm buying, and then started doing the investigation, and then tried to call it off, because it turns out that a lot of Twitter, and we mentioned this on the last episode, but Twitter represents a very small portion of the world. It has like 230 something million subscribers. Many of them are bots. I know that I have a couple of dead accounts on Twitter. I don't know if they're counting those accounts. And those dead accounts were basically made so I could troll people for a little bit and then burn them. Um, but yeah, I mean, Twitter. When people get mad about shit that's said on Twitter, I just I want to lose my mind a little bit, because Twitter is the most not real but still somehow real social media that exists. Um,
Yeah, like I guess there's a certain, I guess, like level of how serious that person is supposed to be, I guess.
right,
Uh
but something that I've noticed over the last couple of years is that like so much mainstream news reporting ends up boiling down to people on Twitter are saying X about Y, and it's like, dude, that's like the worst. And it's really just laziness, right? It's you don't want to
Yeah.
go out and do the actual work of journalism and ask real people what they think. You want to go on Twitter because it's the easiest place that you can possibly source an opinion from. And you go on Twitter, you find, or you follow the hashtag that's trending, and you go, wow, there sure are a lot of people who are saying this. And then you treat that as some kind of indicator of actual public opinion when it's really not. And because the news media treats this as an actual indicator of public opinion when it's really not, then people in power treat it as the public opinion, which
So
is insane and not the way that you should do things. And when people on Twitter are like, why is our country being run by a bunch of fascists? It's because that's the fucking deal, and you should just log off of Twitter and never interact with anybody on Twitter ever again, because you're part of
so
the problem.
I would maybe agree with them taking like what the most like sought after searched topics or hashtags were on Twitter to see what people are really talking about if they like didn't like edit uh non-serious and or vulgar under the FCC
Right. Absolutely. And yeah,
like
that's
how many times did like big wet cocks fucking like pull higher than with a public interest than like the war in Ukraine? I
for
want to
sure.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of problems there, especially, when mainstream news tries to source the way that they're reporting from a place where, yes, your name can be Big Wet Cox 42069.
Yeah, or that guy's
Like,
comment. They never put that guy's comment.
well, they
Fucking
can't, and he could be the most truthful person in the discussion.
yeah,
Uh,
he should be
but
the guy that we're all listening to.
yeah, we should all listen to Big Wet Cox 42069.
Yeah,
But
fucking
anyways,
scholar.
let's go back to the article. We've digressed a little bit here. Elon Musk is under. Oh, you didn't let me read the headline.
Well, the it's been on this for
Yeah,
like
I know,
30
but
minutes.
we have the viewer who can see that, and we have the listener who is just blind.
Well, I mean, I've been
They may be driving right now while they're listening to this. I've had some people tell me that when they drive, they listen to the Benzo Rehab Dungeon. Um, they may
well,
be
I
walking, and therefore cannot view this because they have to keep their eyes on the road ahead of them.
maybe I should read the title then because you'll have me like change slides and I'm just reading the title for 30 minutes before you read it.
Go ahead and read it.
Because
I give you the honor here.
you talk about your feelings so much
I
and your
do. Yeah.
opinions. Yeah.
Well, that's why we're here. But whatever.
Elon Musk is under federal investigation over his Twitter deal. Twitter claims
I would have done
that's
better.
that's the end of the bold.
I would have read that
Twitter,
so much better.
Twitter claims.
Yeah. So
Am I supposed to go down to the body?
Yeah.
And
Twitter's
then read
probably
the...
right here. No. I'll take it from here. You've done
Oh, okay.
quite enough.
Yeah.
You shit up the headline reading as much as you possibly could.
But it moved it along.
You did, yeah. Appreciate that.
Technically.
And the more you keep on adding in all these snide little remarks, the further along we get. So federal authorities are investigating Elon Musk in connection with his $44 billion acquisition of Twitter, the social media platform said in a court filing on Thursday. It is not clear which agencies may be carrying out the probe, and Twitter did not identify what specific actions by Musk U.S. officials may be investigating. Twitter's filing merely said authorities are looking into Musk's conduct linked to the deal. Basically, the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, is interested in how public Musk was about the way he was announcing his original purchase, and then backing out of the deal because that has a very strong impact on the stock of a company like Twitter. When people are saying, or when someone like Elon Musk, who could conceivably purchase Twitter, is saying, "I'm gonna buy Twitter." Twitter's stock may have risen a little bit. I'm not going to look into whether or not that happened, or it may have dropped a little bit because people are like, "Oh, I don't want to have stock in a company owned by Elon Musk because he's a stupid man child." So there's an impact on the stock whenever someone publicly announces something like this, and you're not typically supposed to announce uh, in such a public way that you're looking to acquire something until like the deal has almost been finalized, um and it's written in stone, right? And so since Musk tried to back out, that's also had an impact on Twitter stocks, I imagine. And so this gets people like the Securities and Exchange Commission involved, because they go, hey, you seem to be kind of like doing this very public method of raising or lowering the stock based on how you want things to go with your deal, your acquisition. You could conceivably argue for a lower price if you're saying, "Oh, I backed out of the Twitter deal," and Twitter's stock drops because of that, and you go, "Oh, well, Twitter's only worth this much. I'll give you this much, Twitter, for buying you," right? So it's
Yeah,
it's it's very conceivable that the Securities and Exchange Commission is investigating this, and they're never going to do anything because they never do anything. But Twitter
yeah,
does have a point here.
yeah. No, and I I hate all of this. Like
Yeah, it sucks, right?
yeah,
This
this
is
is
this is what, like, imagine being a fucking ape and you took shrooms for the first time, and this is the hell you imagined, right? Like, this is stupid. We shouldn't be talking
yeah,
about any of this. We should be growing plants and like dancing around a fucking fire or something.
yeah.
This is dumb.
Somebody who thought that like COVID was not real, like will look at me like I'm a fucking like slack jawed fucking like Amish person when I'm like, yeah, I don't think I'll ever like buy a stock like other
Right.
like I'll never do that. Ever. Uh,
Ugh, no want to invest in speculative market. Ugh, think
yeah,
speculative market dangerous for
yeah.
real economy.
D- d- diseases are real. Lawyers
Ugh,
are a
more
real thing.
interested in germ theory.
Like I have a interest in like the concept of somebody who like argues law, but like I swear to God, like a lot of like things all of this this is something that could easily be settled with like a red flashing lights and like an artificial intelligence or something, you know? Like this is when you're actually agreeing to the thing. You
Right,
know,
yeah.
it's when you promise to agree to the thing is the new agree to thing. I just like it's all of this like I don't know like makes me want to like
It sucks for sure. And
live on a mountain.
it's in Musk's best interest to draw this out as long as he can. We'll talk about that in a moment. Um, but let's go ahead and go to the next link.
Mhm.
Here's where we reach the dangerous relationship that Musk has with the
What?
government. Um, and not even just the government, but global conflict. The headline, exclusive: Musk's SpaceX says it can no longer pay for critical satellite services in Ukraine, asks Pentagon to pick up the tab. For a long time.
At,
Um,
at least they they actually made like a little blurb of what it's about as opposed to just being half of the first sentence of the first line of the article like the last one.
yeah, for sure.
I I almost had a seizure trying to figure out what the last title meant.
Fair enough. Go ahead and scroll down to the body of the article a little bit because there's a couple of interesting things in here. Since they first started arriving in Ukraine last spring, the Starlink satellite internet terminals made by Elon Musk's SpaceX have been a vital source of communication for Ukraine's military, allowing it to fight and stay connected, even as cellular phone and internet networks have been destroyed in its war with Russia. So far, roughly 20,000 Starlink satellite units have been donated to Ukraine, with Musk tweeting on Friday, "The operation has cost SpaceX 80 million and will exceed 100 million by the end of the year." We're going to push back against that number a little bit later. But those charitable contributions could be coming to an end, as SpaceX has warned the Pentagon that it may stop funding the service in Ukraine unless the U.S. military kicks in tens of millions of dollars per month. So kind of basically what Musk did here, and what the government allowed Musk to do here. And the government, we're fighting a proxy war in Ukraine, just in case nobody was like fully aware of that situation. Lots of people have accidentally admitted it on news television programs all the time. It's a proxy war. If you think differently, I don't know. Look at our last couple of episodes or something. It's pretty clear that Ukraine has always been a proxy of at least NATO and a proxy of the U.S. for quite some time. That isn't to say that Russia is justified in any way for what it's doing. When it comes to state conflicts, usually both states are wrong. That's just the rule.
It sounds like you support the war in Afghanistan.
Which one?
Alexander the Great. Yeah.
Yeah, that was the last time an ethical war. No, I'm just kidding. It was fine. I stand with the brave Mujahideen fighters of Afghanistan. But basically, what the government allowed to do, because let's be honest with ourselves here. The U.S. government has treated Ukraine as a proxy in fighting Russia. Instead of offering, because this would be, and this is more fucked up. I don't know, imperialist logic, or just insane state versus private logic, whatever you want to call it. But instead of giving Ukraine like access to U.S. government-owned satellite services or anything like that, which as you and I know, the military has lots of satellites that it could use in this capacity.
Well, yeah, and I mean like whatever is like absolutely necessary, like like as far as like like we need to the Ukraine government needs to be able to communicate and operate.
Right.
All we have to do is grant them access to our infrastructure. We don't need Tesla's fucking satellites.
Exactly. But since that would be a more implicit like declaration of we're fighting a proxy war, what the government decided to do instead is, like cowards, they let a private corporation come in and do all the satellite infrastructure for them. And now that SpaceX is the communications arbiter of Ukraine.
I guarantee you there's probably like 5 easy to link up to military satellites.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
All like constantly over the Ukraine, because I don't know. Well, is FBI going to investigate us? I think it's common knowledge. There are enough military satellites for the US to be able to get internet anywhere in the world with anybody that has a transmission receive dish.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
That's common knowledge, and if it somehow was a state secret,
Sorry.
Take me
I guess.
away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Like they like literally just for one or 1 point of a lot of users. I guess I won't go into specifics. I think that's what would actually get us in
yeah,
trouble.
probably stay away from that.
Yeah. But even one device uh could provide a, I guess, neighborhood-ish worth of internet anywhere in the
To a lot
world.
of people is the
Yes, a
best number we'll
lot.
give.
A lot of people.
A
And
not insignificant number of people.
yeah, and then you think of like how many people are like necessary in an emergency to have, the internet. And then you start adding more of those devices as like you need more people. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um so instead,
So
the US government outsourced giving Ukraine satellite communications to a private corporation. This private corporation claims it donated all these units. We'll talk about that in a second. But now that it has set itself up as the necessary infrastructure for this proxy war, it's saying, it's too expensive for us, a multi-billion-dollar company, to absorb a couple $100 million over the course of like the next few years, right? Which is absolute bullshit. It doesn't make any sense.
yeah.
The company could absorb this cost easily. But now that it's the infrastructure and everybody in Ukraine is relying on this, now they have basically a negotiating tool, right? And so they're gonna say, "Oh, well, we're gonna take this away unless you pay us a bunch of money." So basically, they installed themselves as the de facto utility for internet access in Ukraine's military. Um, and now the government is absolutely going to fucking pay for this. We've seen Congress pass, I don't know, what are we at, like 60-70 billion dollars. That might be a little bit exaggerated, but I'm not far off the mark. uh, Congress has just passed tens of billions of dollars worth of funding for Ukraine without ever asking like the average person in America, "Hey, would you like $60 billion to go to Ukraine?" No, nobody's ever been given that option. We've got people in the U.S. who don't have clean drinking water. Instead, their tax dollars are going to a proxy war that we're fighting against Russia for really no reason, and probably could have been worked out diplomatically a long time ago before this ever became any kind of war. But both sides decided to be stubborn pricks about it. Um, so go ahead and scroll down. I think there's a line in here somewhere. Maybe it was a different article I read, but um, I think it was in this article. Keep going down a little bit, a little more. Well, all right. Let's not search for it. But basically, uh, the line I was gonna look for is that anytime Ukraine takes or retakes rather a new piece of territory, um, they have to call up SpaceX and say, "Hey, can you please turn on satellite services in this area?" Which is,
What?
yes, which is fucking dystopian. That a government essentially has to contact a U.S. corporation in order to get their internet turned on whenever they retake a piece of land from an invading force. And that's because we outsourced the fucking project to a private corporation. And all morality around Ukraine and Russia aside, that fucking sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
Right. It's like,
Or
you and I were both in Afghanistan at one point. I think that's a
yeah.
war we can both say we don't agree with. but we were in Afghanistan at one point. Could you imagine having to call up like Verizon customer support to be like, "Hey
Yeah,
Verizon, we just took I don't know, this new area of Kandahar province. Can you please give us internet, daddy?" Like,
yeah,
it's
no, I
insane.
like because yeah, no, that I because I'm pretty sure that like after you find I think that you would have to call, which it's there are people in the government that you call. Uh I think switching from like satellite to satellite, but these satellites like cover like huge like fucking swaths of a like geographical territory. Like it's like Ukraine, I get it's a big-ish country, right? Like I like
It's a fairly large country. It's one of the largest
it's
European countries from what I recall.
it's smaller than Texas, right?
I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know. Why do we always you Texans always got to compare everything to your size?
Well,
I
I'm
don't
just
fucking
saying.
care if it's bigger or smaller than Texas, all right? Ukraine is big in my heart. That's what matters.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there aren't 8,000 fucking satellites over Texas for our giant military population to be able to hook up to by satellite.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't take that many fucking satellites.
No, absolutely not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um
And you only have to call it once to hook up to it. Fucking unless you change, it's like changing service providers. But they have to change service providers, I guess, like every like fucking county. That's the best way I can describe large
they're
amounts of
called
land.
oblasts
Oh,
in
oblast.
yeah.
So they got to set up a new account every time they move.
Pretty much. Yeah. So, I mean that sucks. The other thing is, SpaceX is lying. The U.S. government has also kind of lied on this issue. But this article from April of earlier this year. If you could zoom in just a little bit, because this small text, I can't see it very well.
Did you
But
already read the title?
I didn't. But the title is U.S. taxpayers unknowingly paid millions to get Starlink terminals to Ukraine. Ukraine, or not Ukraine, SpaceX. I got too many factions and names in my brain right now. SpaceX has maintained, and Elon Musk has also maintained, that all of these units were donated by the good grace of their heart. All these transmitter receiver units, so that the Ukrainian military and Ukrainians in general sometimes could have internet access. Um, so the article reads, and again, this is from April of earlier this year. So when CNN just decides to report, "Oh, SpaceX has donated a bunch of units," they're reporting that after it's come out that these weren't strictly donations, right? This
Yeah.
CNN being one of the like primary news sources of Americans who are engaged with news, should probably, I don't know, have done like more research than me as a dumbass with a podcast did, to find out whether or not these Starlink units were actually on a donation basis.
Did you call a Tesla representative
No, I didn't. Yeah,
to tell you what reality was?
right. I, I didn't. I don't know. I didn't go to the snake oil salesman to ask him whether or not the snake oil works. So soon after Russia invaded Ukraine in February, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk pledged to send Starlink internet terminals to the country. His company donated thousands of units and is covering the cost of the service for a few months. However, the U.S. government reportedly paid millions for some of the terminals and to get them all to Ukraine, in spite of statements to the contrary from the company's president. The United States Agency for International Development bought around 1,500 terminals at a cost of $1,500 each, according to the documents obtained by the Washington Post. It also covered transportation costs for all of the terminals to the tune of $800,000, resulting in the agency shelling out over $3 million. In all, the agency and SpaceX sent more than 5,000 terminals to Ukraine, with a third-party contractor handling transportation and delivery. It is unclear whether U.S. aid paid over the odds for the terminal. SpaceX recently increased the price of a Starlink terminal from $4.99 to $5.49 for deposit holders and to $5.99 for fresh orders. As of April 22nd, the monthly price of the satellite-powered internet service is increasing from $99 to $110 a month.
So more than Dish.
Yeah, I guess so. But yeah, supposedly Starlink is super good, even though they've never like met their metrics on what your average upload download speed is going to be. Whatever. Elon Musk is always going to oversell everything that he tries to sell to idiots.
Yeah, well, and I mean, it's got to be more expensive. Like they've got these have to be like low orbit satellites, right?
They are, yeah.
Oh yeah, so they're trash. Like they throw them up there.
Literally like thousands and thousands of these fucking things. I know astronomers are not happy with them because it's like turning into a cloud of shitty garbage satellites that are like blanketing the low Earth orbit. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah, well, I mean, soon as like the U.S. like military satellites can't broadcast because there's so many like Tesla satellites, either Tesla becomes our military or
oh no.
or a lot of satellites are going to get shot down.
So let's see. Let's catch up with the article here. So the company announced a higher tier service earlier this year that costs $2,500 for a terminal and $500 per month for service.
What?
Yeah, I mean that's if you're like a fancy schmancy, you need the high upload, high download rate on a satellite receiver. Which by the way, for anybody who's not well versed with how transmission works, satellites have decent download rates, but notoriously dog shit upload rates. Kind of because it all has to be funneled through like one fucking satellite, right? So you've got lots of people trying to upload to one satellite. But the way that it works is that the satellite can kind of just bounce all those signals down to Earth in a lot of different directions and get a good blanket coverage. So that's why you're able to get a 20 megabytes per second a lot of times download rate from a satellite, but your upload rate is likely going to be like 1 to 2 megabytes per second. Thank you for all of that, John.
You're welcome.
Right into the microphone next time. Put the microphone inside your throat next time you do that.
I will show off my deep throating skills.
Foul.
On camera.
Foul. Please scroll down a little bit.
Well, I got to show them the microphone.
Oh, yep.
It's huge. Now, imagine how it'll sound in my throat.
Yeah, making those good guac guac noises. Please scroll down.
Yeah, well, I'll do that. Is that enough?
Keep going down just a little bit. Oh, never mind.
A little bit more?
No. I'm dumb. I put a different article in the original article's place. You can go back up.
But it's the guy from Iron Chef, right?
That's racist, I think. I don't know. Not every guy who's Asian is on Iron Chef, John.
Well, I didn't say that this Asian guy over here was on Iron Chef. I said this Asian guy over here was on Iron Chef.
Do you think the guy on the right is on Iron Chef?
No.
Oh. All right. Scroll back up. So the question is, did US aid overpay for the standard uh Starlink units, or did it underpay for the more advanced Starlink units? Um, there's been reports and pictures that have gone around of trucks full of the standard units in Ukraine. So the evidence seems to point that US aid overpaid quite a lot. $600 versus the $1,500 that they paid for all these units for Starlink's units, and it's another case of Tesla just kind of like automatically getting a government contract. And nobody in the public is consulted about this or anything like that. And then uh, Tesla or Starlink, SpaceX in this case, but owned by the same charlatan asshole, ends up making a massive profit off of what they're doing. And the monthly service of a satellite communications like infrastructure, like the monthly service that you pay for versus the upkeep of these trash satellites that are just in low orbit, basically running on autopilot. um it's all just profit at that point. So even if the government was paying for the monthly service for each of these 5,000 units that were given to Ukraine, um, realistically they shouldn't have to pay for any of that, because service is just something that you do to wring money out of people at that point, right? Because you've already put the satellite up there, the cost is gone. And the monthly subscription, like, you're not really doing anything as a satellite internet provider at that point.
Yeah. So do you think that the U.S. government is also paying these monthly service fees for it too?
That's the best guess anyone has for why the government seems to have paid $1,500 a unit for $600 Starlink units.
Yeah,
Is like, okay, well, you've got the $600 for the unit, and then you got a couple of months of service. But
yeah, I think if you have like one of those like weird, bizarre, stacked I live in Alaska and I've got this like giant satellite dish that picks up like HBO, CNN, and like I don't know, like some like a different national
One
broadcasters.
American News Network.
Yeah, or whatever, however you get internet or what have you, or television, literal broadcast. Uh, there's plenty of companies that already have satellites that we could have, if we really had to have a corporation like control this, like we could have just asked HBO to uh uh
Yeah, and that's the other thing is
rent some of their satellite space for the Ukraine.
spoiler alert. If a Starlink satellite receiver can link up to a Starlink satellite, it could also link up to any other fucking satellite. It's just a matter of whether or not you have the encryption key for whatever satellite you're linked up to.
Yeah.
You're operating at the same wavelength. You're receiving all the same signals. You just need a different. So I mean, you could conceivably hack a Starlink terminal to uh, let's say you're in the US military and you have all the proper authority to do this sort of thing. You could hack a Starlink terminal to link up to a military terminal, or a military satellite rather. You would just need to have the encryption key to do so. This isn't a state secret either. Anybody who is involved in like satellite communications or telecommunications even probably knows this. It's why when back in the days of like antenna TVs or anything like that, your receiver would essentially just be programmed to have the encryption key for whatever channels you were allowed to have access to, because it's the same thing. You're receiving all the same wavelengths. It's just a matter of whether or not your device can decode those wavelengths, or not the wavelengths, but the information being transmitted over those wavelengths.
Yeah.
So let's go ahead and go to the next link because I'll probably put people to sleep now with the explanation of how all that shit works. And now we're going to watch a funny thing that's happened to Elon Musk recently, and probably why he's trying to divert attention away from anything else going on in his life or his company's lives, which is the Tesla AI Day, 2022. When I first saw the clips of this coming out, I thought it was something that happened like a long time ago, because I was so surprised at how shitty it was. But apparently this actually just happened like late September. So maybe 2.5 weeks ago now. So we talked earlier about how Elon Musk unveiled the Tesla bot, and when he unveiled the Tesla bot, it was just a guy dancing in a suit. Now we're gonna see the real actual robot that he's produced out of this. John, go ahead and roll the footage.
This is actually the first time we try this robot without any backup support. Cranes, mechanical mechanisms, no cables, nothing.
Wait.
Ready? Let's go.
Wait.
Yeah, why is this the first time?
Yeah, not in the lab that it was being developed in.
Yeah,
you know, they hired like some union grip scabs to to set up this stage, and they're gonna test a piece of a experimental equipment in front of a crowd.
Yeah. So I get where you're coming from.
Theoretic, or that's what they claim.
I get where you're coming from.
Yeah.
I would not call this experimental at all. I would call this maybe second year of robotics school engineering class project.
I think like two kids from my high school, and I didn't go to like a good high school or anything, but there happened to be like two geniuses at my high school. I'm pretty sure that they sold like the idea, for like hive-minded like spider bots that like worked.
So you call them geniuses, I call them
virgins.
Well, virgins, but also incredibly troubled villains.
Yeah.
Why would you want hive mind spider robots? Just don't do that.
To look for mines.
Yeah, no, that's not what it's going to be used for. Anytime somebody develops some kind of technology like that, it's like, well, we're doing it so that we can help feed the poor, and then it turns out, no, we're doing it to like stab poor people in their eyes so that they're poorer, so that we can exploit them more.
Well, the virgin autistic pure researchers that proved that it was possible, they intended it to sweep for mines, because that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
But they sold it to the government.
Exactly. I was like,
through funding it usually, because these are usually like the people that
these
make
two
like
kids are like
$50,000 a year, dreaming
up and developing this idea, and DARPA is just in the corner like jacking off furiously at the thought of it. Like, yeah, give us the fucking hive mind robots. We would love to search for mines and not stab poor people in their eyes. Anyways, keep playing this. Go.
Lol.
Oh yeah. So for the viewer or listener, a robot has appeared on stage and is looking at its own hands quizzically.
It's got unnecessary amounts of cable.
It is waddling forward at what I would describe the most frustrating pace your grandfather has ever walked at.
Well, and like what technician put this together? It was like add extra cables.
Now it's slowly waving around, kind of bent at its waist,
And not looking at anybody, really.
No, it's running a routine.
I think the pod got some moves too.
Now it's doing the raise the roof thing, but not enough. Like it's not above its head.
Again, like this is like the year before like your grandfather's
We'll show you some
decline to
videos now
death.
of the
That's the level. Like literally 6 months before you could say
Hello,
that. Like,
children, it's time to raise the roof, as you all say.
yeah, and he's like, I've still got it. I don't have to go to the hospital.
Yeah, I don't need help walking around, Grandpa. I just want to go into the store, man. just get on the fucking scooter, Grandpa. I don't want to have to do this with you. So Elon's gonna say some words here. Go ahead and play that.
Oh, gross.
robot doing a bunch of other things.
We wanted to show a little bit more what we've done over the past few months with the pod, and just walking around and dancing.
Here we have the robot carrying a box around and placing it down.
Just humble beginnings.
Could you pause real quick?
You can see the autopilot.
Go back a couple of seconds, to where the robot was walking up to the desk. So you see here, the robot is it's tethered, like the gal that kicked this event off said. This is the first time it's been the first time that it's walked unassisted is at this event that they're showcasing this thing at, right? So it's tethered. You can see the tether to its like top right there. But look at the background. More importantly, you've got a guy on the computer, a gal next to him on the computer.
Three Asians in the back of a white guy's head.
The guy to his immediate right isn't Asian. I would peg him more as East Indian, but you know.
Yeah, and then the other two humans are
the other two humans.
yeah, are Asian. Too, but they would not put a human at the chair that the robot's delivering the package to.
Well, and something interesting is gonna happen once you press play, but I'll point it out for people who are watching. For the listener, what you're gonna see is a completely different scene. This is shot on a wide angle, and then as the robot is placing the box down, it suddenly shifts to like the tall angle, like camera phone sort of view, and no longer is the guy in the background anymore. That computer that he's working on is no longer there. The display that's in front of or behind the computer that he's working on is no longer lit up like it was before. Go ahead and press play and just watch a couple of seconds. The gal that was 2 chairs down from the robot has now left her chair and is standing to the side. Nobody seems to trust this fucking thing, and they had to switch to a completely different angle. You can also see blue
the
tape
tables aren't
markers.
even level.
Yeah, the tables are no longer pushed together like they were before. So before you press play, though, also notice there's blue tape, as if to indicate that this is some kind of like programmed sort of thing, and they were trying to mark out where he should be.
Which again is something that since when I went to high school, I think over 10 years ago, like the robotics club was able to accomplish,
right,
like with navigation.
So go ahead and press play for just a second until it shows the robot's view.
Just humble beginnings, but you can see the
pause right there. You see how those desks are pressed together? now. And there's like a 3D rendering of a guy that is roughly in the position where the other guy was, and for some reason there's like a picture of the robot on the computer screen in front of him. It's not a reflection because it shows the full robot, which the screen wouldn't reflect at that angle. So this is fantasy. This is all made up. This is all bullshit. And if you believe this shit, you're a fucking retard.
Yeah.
Sorry, had to bust out the R word for this one. It's just true.
Yeah. And,
go ahead and play.
Not an endearing retard. You know.
No.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
even like a oh bless your heart retard. Just
a retard that breaks up a family.
you have drank so much Kool-Aid we no longer recognize you as our son anymore.
Yeah. The government makes us think of you as a disabled human.
Yeah.
But,
go ahead and roll a little bit more of this.
Autopilot neural networks running as is, just retrained for the bot.
Here we have another
directly
tethered
on
robot.
that new
It picks up a
platform.
watering can.
it's got different hands.
Well, yeah, they're always going to have different hands because the hands they made are dog shit.
Yeah.
And it really only has the ability to just kind of like do this like pincer movement. There's not a whole lot of individual movement of the fingers, which Elon Musk actually points out himself, is that they're working on making the hands more dexterous. An individual finger movement is something that they're working on still. But go ahead and play it. It picks up a fucking watering can. Now it's going to act
That's my
like
watering can.
it's
Yeah, when
watering
you see a rendered
plants.
view, that's the robot. That's the world the robot sees. So it's very
It
clearly
doesn't see
identifying
anything.
objects.
It's probably
Like,
also
this
on
is
a
the object
track.
it should pick up, picking it
yeah.
up. Yeah.
So here it sort of looks like it's watering
We use the
plants.
same
I don't know.
process as we did
It-
for
it
Autopilot
tilted a
to collect
can in
data
a
and train
direction.
neural networks that
Now
we
you've
then
got this
deploy on the
robot picking up little iron
That's an
bars
example
and
that
placing
illustrates
them.
the upper body. I don't
You
know
only
Well,
see
no,
this-
those are aluminum bars.
Oh, sorry.
That's
aluminum
definitely
bars.
that's definitely aluminum. And it's mostly hollow on the inside.
Yeah, so incredibly light. Doesn't require a whole lot of strength to pick those up.
Which I'm sorry, but I have to demand a union a pee break.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
It's pretty early in the night for that, but we'll allow it.
I forgot to go before. So
All right, John.
Yeah,
All right.
but I
Okay.
apologize.
Let me I'll hit the intermission button and we're off.
Oh, are we? Yeah.
Okay, we are back just in time.
Oh my gosh, the amount of urine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like 93% of that time was just urine leaving my body. The other 7% was me trying to, dry my hands on my shirt from all the how
The
I pissed
urine.
all over them.
Yeah,
all
okay.
the urine.
Yeah. The CDC recommends that you piss on your hands at least 1 solid minute while scrubbing.
But you have to blow dry it with your own breath
Yeah.
to kill the germs.
God gave us all the tools we need. So anyways, robot picking up hollow aluminum bars, placing them haphazardly into a thing. This is all, of course, pre-programmed. I believe you only see and the device that it's picking these up out of isn't moving or anything because this robot
No.
is slow as fuck, and it's
these support beams aren't like covered in like the manufacturing grease that they come coated in off the fucking conveyor belt.
So go ahead and roll a little bit more of this.
It looks like an intern cleaned them, but
something that we'll like try to nail down in a few months over the next few
and now
months,
there's nothing on the conveyor belt except for the one bar.
And we actually have an Optimus bot with fully Tesla designed and built.
Go ahead and pause real quick. So this is a little bit cut up because it's like a highlight reel that I found. So now that they've shown the working robot that they have, obviously a bunch of that was bullshit, as we saw in the last little like 3D rendering robot view of things. The robot is picking up that aluminum bar and then placing it onto a blank green area because it doesn't recognize any of the other bars in that area, or it's just like completely made up rendering. Who knows? Who cares? But obviously the robot isn't any kind of capable AI, doesn't perceive its surroundings, and is running a bunch of pre-programmed routines under the guise of it like thinking for itself. Now we get to the real hilarious stuff, but go ahead, John.
Oh, I was gonna say I bet if it did actually move like one bar to the other and everything else is just missing in this like weird 3D rendered thing, I bet that there would just be a bunch of like fuck ups like all over like the fucking
they actually just blanked that out because the bars were stacked all fucked up. Like
yeah, they're all bent, fucking wet, jerked off over.
The horny robot. So now we get to the real funny stuff, which is the one that we saw before is called like Bumble something, or
wait, do they have names?
Yeah, of course they have names because you gotta name your shit, right?
Why would you name a robot?
Oh, dumb man, I don't fucking care. But now we're about to see a robot called Optimus, which of course makes you think this is optimal. This is like Optimus Prime from the Transformers movies. This robot must be a real badass. It must fuck. This robot fucks is what you might think, right? So now they're gonna unveil Optimus, which is their newest robot that they're working on. The engineer says something curious about it, which is that Optimus has been developed in parallel with this other robot, which I don't understand why you would do. Like, why not perfect the one robot and then go, okay, here's what we've learned about this robot. Now let's design a new robot. Designing something in parallel and then calling it better seems like you're just like doing the same thing to me, you know, like, yeah, we're redesigning the wheel, and as we were redesigning the wheel, we decided to redesign the wheel while we were redesigning that first wheel. I don't know, man. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But anyways, here's Optimus. Go ahead and roll the tape.
Actuators, battery pack, control system, everything. It wasn't quite ready to walk, but I think it will walk in a few weeks. But we wanted to.
Wait, is this how he actually talks?
Yeah, no, he sucks at talking.
Why do I
is-
feel like I've never actually I've only read him talk?
Yeah,
speaking.
because the moment that you stop listening to him, you forget that he sounds like a dipshit.
Yeah, and it really makes me think that this robot hasn't gotten laid. I don't think that these 3 virgins could design a robot.
Well,
that could
I mean,
get laid.
he's already kind of telling on the situation here because he says it doesn't quite walk yet, but it will walk in a few weeks. It's like, well, will it? Will it actually walk in a few weeks? How do you know that? Because you've just like arbitrarily determined that we're gonna make the robot walk in a couple of weeks. So play the thing.
Show you the robot, something that's actually fairly close to what will go into production, and show you all the things it can do. So let's bring it out.
Do it.
So a team of 3 people is wheeling out this robot that's blankly looking around and pretending to wave at people. They have to adjust it several times because this little base isn't working quite the way that they would want it to. And then
Yeah, it's got a chastity belt on.
well, because it's like hooked up to this like frame system, and you're gonna see in a second. There's no way that this isn't pre-programmed because it's hooked up to this frame system, and then it does this thing with its legs where it like spreads its legs out into like a weird like jumping jack sort of motion. Why would it do that if it knows it can't fucking walk? There's no AI here. There's nothing that could remotely be considered artificial intelligence going on here. It's all a pre-programmed fucking lie.
Yeah, they've already made robots that can walk on
Oh yeah.
4
We're gonna
legs,
take
on
a
2 legs.
we're gonna take a quick look at robots that actually do robot things. But I want to play a
Oh my
little bit
God.
more of this clip. Got like one guy clapping on stage and then a handful of people clapping in the audience because they're programmed.
So here you're seeing Optimus with these are with the degrees of freedom that we expect to have in Optimus Production Unit 1, which is the ability to move all the fingers independently, to have the thumb have 2 degrees of freedom, so it has opposable thumbs, and both left and right hand, so it's able to operate tools and do useful things. Our goal is to make a useful humanoid robot.
They think that they're going to be able to get a robot to have like the same like hand dexterity with a human hand design.
See, I don't
without
think that's
like I'm not saying that we can't make things better than the human hand.
no,
But
of course
to
not.
recreate the human hand and expect an artificial intelligence to be able to manipulate it.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously a lofty goal, and it's nowhere near. I mean, he's saying 2 degrees of freedom for the thumb.
Does it, how many degrees of freedom does my thumb have?
A lot. I
Yeah.
mean, you can rotate it in a lot of different ways, right?
Like it's got like all the degrees.
It's got lots of them, several of them. Keep playing just a little bit more. He's going to talk about a price point.
As quickly as possible. And we've also designed it using the same discipline that we use in designing the car, which is to design it for manufacturing such that it's possible to make the robot in high volume at low cost with high reliability. So that's incredibly important. I mean, you've all seen very impressive humanoid robot demonstrations,
Doesn't mean anything.
and that's great, but what are they missing?
High reliability.
They're missing a brain. They don't have the intelligence to navigate the world by themselves. and they're also very expensive and made in low volume. Whereas Optimus is designed to be an extremely capable robot, but made in very high volume, probably ultimately millions of units, and it is expected to cost much less than a car.
I'll just bring it
So,
directly to the right here.
I would say probably less than $20,000 would be my guess.
What?
Oh, yes. Yes, clap. Everybody claps.
So last year we
only
unveiled
like
the
5
Tesla
people
bot
actually clap.
concept, but a concept
Go ahead
doesn't get
and,
us very far.
Well,
knew we
we
needed a
can
real-
stop
like-
looking at this video.
Its arms don't even have the same motors on it.
No, yeah. This is all just like shitty engineering school level stuff, right? It's yeah. So you know, he puts out this price point, $20,000 for a robot that not only somehow exceeds like the processing capability of other robots, also like more generally useful somehow. Go ahead and go to the next link. We're gonna see something interesting here. So this is a robot called Asimo that Honda was developing for a while. You will notice that the time this was posted was November 10th, 2011. So almost full 11 years ago, this is what Honda was capable of doing with their robot.
I just want to compare something real quick.
Okay.
So in what would that be? Less than a month, 85,000 views. This one from over 10 years ago, 300,000 views.
It's people are junkies for Elon Musk, man. I don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, go ahead and play Asimo, the robot from 11 years ago.
Well.
It can fucking run 9 kilometers per hour. Again, this is 11 years ago. It can jump and change direction while jumping.
On one leg.
Yeah, so it's just hopping on one foot right now. Now it's hopping on both feet and changing direction.
It is 2 seconds away from replacing all black girls.
Damn.
It is about to start hopscotching, or
Damn, son.
or what's it called when you jump rope? The like trick
Jump rope?
thing. No, there's a word for it that I forgot.
I don't know, man. I didn't grow up doing that kind of shit.
Yeah, they've made black exploitation movies about it.
Play the video.
Oh, fine.
Here it is hopping again on one foot.
Yep.
Rotating some more.
Putting
This little fucking maniac is off the chain.
Yeah, it's putting 12-year-old black girls out of work.
Yep. And then it can wheel out this cart.
You know, that's
And-
exactly how I wheel carts.
Right, yeah. And let's be clear here. This is all pre-programmed, of course. But so was everything Elon Musk showed. And his robot fucking sucks compared to this. But now we're gonna see the robot. He comes to a slow stop, and he's gonna pour a little drink by uncapping this thermos that's here, and then grasping a cup, and then pouring the thermos into the cup. And of course he moves like a dumb idiot because he's pre-programmed, and they're having to like compensate for all the little like marginal differences that may have arisen during his pre-programming routine.
Well, and I mean that'll probably like never get solved because I'm guessing this thing it's like what, like maybe 5'1", and I bet
Yeah.
it weighs like 1,000 pounds or something.
Right. So we don't really have to watch much more than this, but you can see like the individual fingers are capable of like pretty unique articulation. Way better than the fucking dog shit Elon Musk rolled out on the stage, where he's saying we're hoping for individual finger movement. Like, well, yeah, this already has it, man, and this is 11 years ago. But go ahead and we can stop looking at this. The price point for this robot, by the way, was 2.5 million, and that's why Honda stopped working on this project, because they're like, yeah, there's probably no way for us to realistically make a robot that can do things. The original intent was that this robot would be made to be like a helper for elderly people. And then they discovered and realized even doing all these like without any kind of AI function whatsoever, this robot still would cost millions of dollars per unit
to injure five very rich old people.
Yeah. So they were like, yeah, maybe there's no juice in this squeeze that we're trying to do here. Let's end the project. That's why Asimo is no longer, under development. It's simply not there right now, and probably may never be. Jessica in the chat said double Dutch. That's what
Yeah, double Dutch. There you go.
Yeah, Black Girl's doing double Dutch.
Yeah. This robot.
What a crazy world we live in.
It can do the first level of that. I really hope that there are like 3 like maimed geriatric billionaires.
Yeah.
That bought this thing.
Just some fucking like incredibly rich like Japanese billionaire who's just like, I don't know, in the hospital with like an iron lung, and somebody's like, what happened to you? And it's like, oh, I bought the fucking Honda Asimo robot. I asked it to make me a drink, and it thought my head was the cup.
I asked it to carry it to my fucking rascal, and now all my orifices are prolapsed.
Yeah. Oh man. I just found any place it could grab onto.
It's just some like billionaire on a fucking rascal with an iron mask.
There you go. Go ahead and go to the next link. And this is so Boston Dynamics is kind of like the forerunner of modern robotics, all things considered. And the best thing that they've come up with so far for a robot that does shit is this little dog-looking robot that they call Spot. And one of the more recent things that they've done with it is they put a kind of like a reticulated. Crane? What's that?
It looks like a mouth, kind of.
No. That's the regular unit. That's like a sensory array that you're calling a mouth. The sideways mouth on the front of it. But what they have done is they've kind of added like this reticulated python looking fucking thing to the top of it.
Yeah. That's the thing I'm talking about.
Up top.
Yeah, pythons have mouths.
Oh yeah. Well, I wasn't identifying what you were looking at as a mouth, but now I see what you're looking.
Yeah, because the thing that you thought I was talking about.
I'm talking about.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm talking about. But you thought I was talking about this, which is like, I don't know, like a beta cassette player, maybe.
Right, John. I don't give you a whole lot of credit.
Yeah,
that's not going to change. Like, but I don't.
The thing that looks like a mouth and a neck that I might be talking about. That. Well, you're right. I'm the bad kind of retarded.
Sure.
Yeah.
If that's what you insist.
That's what I put on my resume.
Yeah.
I understand.
Play some of this fucking clip. So this is Spot. I don't know how much of this is pre-programmed. I assume quite a lot. It stumbles around a little bit. I think most of like the stabilization in these robots is like sort of automated at this point, so they're not too worried about that. But it still kind of stumbles around like an asshole, right?
it is in the snow, which does affect
Yeah.
electrical motors.
And again, you know, puts another layer of like, how do we really actually program something to artificially be smart enough to understand how to walk in snow, etc. Lots of problems with artificial intelligence and like the movement of robotics, but
That is terrifying.
yeah, I mean, the Python mouth thing isn't cool. I think it's weird, and
now
the rest
now
of it, yeah.
now I see the who's the lady who painted the flowers?
Virginia O'Keeffe.
Yeah, the like O'Keefe like
I think I might have made up her first name. I know it's O'Keefe though.
Yeah, the but like a bizarro like Hellraiser version of what she would paint. I do see the mouth now on the chest.
Yeah, that's what I was. Hold on. Oh, it was Georgia O'Keeffe. Wrong state. Sorry. Anyways, play this fucking video. Again, one of the forerunners in robotics. The best thing they've done is they've added this weird snake arm attachment to this robot. It can pick up, if you live like an absolute fucking slob, it can pick up the fucking stuff that you've thrown around on the room, one piece at a time.
Terrifying.
Oh, accidentally grabs 2 pieces. Here it is doing double dutch.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I thought it was funny that you brought that up, but I wanted this to be a little bit of a surprise that this robot it can do double dutch as a single little robot with 2 other robot friends as it zooms out.
Oh my god, it is absolutely terrifying. What the fuck?
And again, a lot of this is probably pre-programmed. Here's a black robot opening up a door, which I don't think they should be allowed to do.
Yeah, no, and this is obviously it's not just black, it's got some extra lighting on its back.
This is the cop robot.
Yeah, it's a cop robot, you know, like it doesn't have to it can't violate your supposed right to privacy.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's not a citizen.
It can also kill you without any repercussion, because what are you gonna do? Send the robot to jail?
If we have to put dogs down for barking at people or biting people that may or may not deserve it, we should get to murder a robot.
Yeah, but like, you murder the robot, and like, did the robot ever live? Did the robot ever lose anything? No.
Well, if they can make it terrifying as it like I don't know, like autistically enthusiastically picks up socks and firewood, it can have a empathetic murder response.
Fair enough, I guess.
Yeah, they can program that in there, you know, to make us feel better about it.
Yeah. Well, at least the robot was programmed to think of sorrow when it killed me, I guess.
It makes a guilty face.
The robot recognized that you know, ultimately killing a person of color is especially tragic. Oh.
Yeah, and
because of Wikipedia articles it had loaded into it earlier.
But it is a POC a robot.
Yeah, I mean, it's a race trader robot.
Yeah. AO5, by the way, for the listener, if you see a robot dog with AO5, don't
kill on sight.
Don't throw Molotov cocktails on it.
Oh, right. Yeah. You went the opposite way of suggestion. I went with the explicit method of suggestion, which is to just tell people to do harm, and you said don't, wink wink, do something bad to it.
One way gets us on our FBI handler's shit list, and the other probably also does, but
If
less
saying I want to
severe.
kill robot dogs puts me on the FBI shit list, then I belong there, and I don't care. So anyways, we don't need to look at any more of this Boston Dynamics shit. Like I said, Boston Dynamics, kind of the forerunner in robotic technology for like practical applications, still aren't doing like a super good job at making anything that's terribly functional when it comes to like regular human environment. It takes so long to fucking get through this door.
And it's so terrifying.
Here it's kind of showing like one of the actual uses it could have, which is like, oh, we've got a dangerous area that we need to shut something off in. Send the dumbass robot dog in, and it can shut it off for us.
You know what you could also do? You could engineer the building to be safe for the purpose.
That is also true. Exactly.
Yeah. Which you can definitely do, just for the corporation to shell out like maybe an extra $3,000.
Right. So speaking of money, go ahead and minimize this and go to the next link. This very basic robot dog.
What the fuck?
Without the arm attachment, mind you. You don't have to look at that thing in the bottom right. This very basic robot dog with no arm attachment costs $74,500. Elon Musk is trying to say that his humanoid robot that is supposedly going to have artificial intelligence and way more human-like function is only going to cost $20,000 per unit. Is that a thing we believe?
No.
Is that a thing that we're just gonna fucking swallow? Are we allowing ourselves to be duped in this way?
Yeah.
The answer is absolutely not. If we go to the next link.
And if you'll notice that the Boston Dynamics robot has 5% of the exposed wires that Tesla robot has.
Oh yeah. It's a way more finished product because they've been in this business for like 20 years now. And still, despite the fact that these are the forerunners, the best thing they've made is like a robot dog that has a snake head now. I think they're ultimately going to work into like some kind of like robotic chimera.
Yeah. Well, they put the ass on the head, so it's like the goat lion gonna be the dog's ass this time.
I don't know, and I don't want to find out. I hope I don't live to see that age.
Yeah, as it pulls you out of your apartment hovel.
Right. To then point blank shoot me in the face. It'll dig its like goat head into my house to bite my clothes and pull me out, and then the snake head comes around with a Glock in its mouth and just shoots the fuck out of me. And only for reading anarchist literature, not even doing anything. So what I like to do when it comes to money people is I like to look at other money people and what they're talking about with money people. So this article from Forbes is what happened to. God damn it, John! Fucking click the X.
Oh yeah. I made us live in the society that we do.
Yeah, dude. You gave us all the paywalls. It's pretty fucking ridiculous, and you should apologize.
I do because I allow it to happen, not because I make any money, but because it excites me.
Yeah, you've got a like a withholding kink.
Yeah.
So this article from Forbes, what happened to Tesla's stock price since the last AI day? Go ahead and scroll down. Okay, yeah. So right before Tesla's AI day started, the stock price was at $265.25. So $265.25. The Tesla stock price has plummeted since. It's currently priced at $223.07. Many pointed out that the Optimus prototype was underwhelming and Musk may have to change how he sets his expectations in the future. The Tesla stock has been tumbling ever since AI Day, with other issues like weaker than expected delivery results and the news of Elon Musk announcing he was purchasing Twitter again. We don't really have to look too much more at this article, but it's pretty fucking funny how, you know, Elon Musk sort of makes all of his hay off of tricking dumb assholes into believing his projects are going to go somewhere. But when it comes to the people who actually have to invest in this shit, when they see something like the underwhelming display, which again, you know, we looked at some more high end robotics projects of the last decade or so, which have far outpaced everything that he's been able to display at his little Tesla AI Day showcase. When it comes down to like the people who actually have to pay money and invest in these things, they lose faith in him because they know how to make money, and how you make money is not by having shitty robots that are never going to be sold, never going to go anywhere. I mean, you can go ahead and already just like mentally throw this on the pile of other like Elon Musk failed projects, the Hyperloop, the Boring Company, which was I'm a funny little troll. The company is called Boring, but what it does is it bores holes under the earth. Yeah, I mean it's all. It's so hard to describe the kind of person who like latches on to Elon Musk as like a savior figure, but there's so many of them, and it's deeply troubling that there are so many of them.
Yeah, it's weird that like they're waiting for him to become like a Tony Stark when in fact he's probably like a Lex Luthor that is a virgin.
I mean, I don't like to use pop culture references when it comes to people in real life. I would place him more as like you know, you've got your Edisons and your Teslas, and Edison was notoriously like shitty at everything he did, but like just had patents that made him rich. Elon Musk is more of an Edison, even though he named his company Tesla.
I'm pretty sure I said the exact same thing.
When?
Right before you said that you don't like to use pop culture references.
No, you used Tony Stark and Lex Luthor.
Yeah, and you used.
I don't even get
Tesla.
the second reference because DC sucks more than Marvel does, and I think Marvel also sucks. So.
Well, I think you got the point of my analogy then, that Elon Musk sucks.
We arrived at similar conclusions with different information. It's fine.
I think it's the same information.
Let's go ahead and go to the next link. We are transitioning now. So at the beginning of this episode, I did mention that the title of this episode is "In Defense of Alex Jones," which strangely, with every passing moment, I'm having less, or sorry, not less, more and more trouble taking seriously. It's possible that I just wanted to make an incendiary headline for the podcast. I don't know.
His set got bigger since he got canceled.
Well, I mean, he's going to spend all the money he has now because he will never have money ever again.
Oh my gosh. And there's like a whole tree worth of papers in front of him. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I mean, look at that fucking background. That's 4x3 like screens. You can see the seams on them.
Oh, yeah.
So it's 4 screens wide and 3 screens tall, and those screens have got to be like, I don't know, like maybe 50-inch almost screens. Like those are
Well,
like if you look
if-
at the size of his hand, which is in the foreground compared to the screens, like those are huge fucking screens. Anyways,
Well, yeah, because I mean, like, if Alex Jones is about like 4'8", we'll round him to 5 feet tall. That's like 20. Those are like 20-foot screens.
all right, well, you're being a little bit less generous than I was to him, but anyways,
but more generous to the screens.
yeah, they really pack a lot of punch in that smaller inch space.
Prove to me that Alex Jones isn't 4'8".
I won't try to. I don't care. So all right, I'll come clean with everyone. I'm not actually gonna defend Alex Jones. I just thought it would be a funny title to run with the podcast this week. That I would possibly defend Alex Jones.
That's what broke you. Even defending his actual height, you couldn't do.
Yeah. For all I know, Alex Jones is a 3'7" lizard person from a different galaxy. I would hope that he would have the intellectual honesty to at least entertain my inquisition on that front. It's only fair given the shit he spews on a regular basis. But so let's watch this clip, and this is a so we're on band.video.com or no, sorry, we're just on band.video. Never mind. .video is apparently its own domain. Fuck, what do you call it? You know what I mean. You got your .coms, your .nets.
What's banned about it? They're selling silver dollars.
He named it band.video because he got removed from all the mainstream social media things like Facebook and YouTube and Twitter, etc.
But he can still sell silver coins.
Of course he can. He makes all of his money off of selling dumb shit to stupid people. Here is so due to how the legal system works, which is stupidly, Alex Jones didn't actually have to be in person while like all the verdicts were being read or anything like that. He was able to have his lawyers stand in for him for the ruling. And he is in his little InfoWars studio, sitting on his throne of bullshit, watching the live stream of the proceedings. Go ahead and play this clip.
When you think about Alex Jones' real height, I imagine that he did shoot this on his private 12-person passenger jet.
Right, yeah, because
like, this is the studio to it.
Because you can fit all of that and him in the same room. I get it.
Yeah.
The biggest sale of the year is running right now at InfoWarsStore.com. 50% off. But when you add the promo code at checkout, 17.
He's got ads for himself on his own website.
An additional 10% off and
promo code 1776. We all know what happened in 1776, right?
The emotional distress damages, past and future, $30 million.
Yeah!
Total, fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff David Wheeler and against Alex Jones.
So they're reading the verdict, right?
Yeah.
He definitely just panic blinked 5 times in less than a second.
Yeah, because he's got to maintain appearances that he's greater than the system that he is now being fucked by. And
But he knows they're gonna take that, I guess, money away from him.
you guess it's money? Or which part are you struggling with here?
Oh, just that I'm pretty sure that judges are the only people cops are scared of. Because I don't know if they actually have to do what the judges tell them to.
Are you saying Alex Jones doesn't have to do what the judge says here?
No. Somebody's gonna make him, of course.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, or the people that hold his money are gonna give it to the judge to give it to other people.
So that they aren't like also implicated in some kind of crime, whatever. Yeah. He knows he's fucked here, but he has to play up this persona of like, I'm greater than the system. I'm the InfoWars guy. This is the deep state coming after me, sort of shit. Whatever, right?
Yeah.
So he's watching all the awards being announced, awards of damages to the plaintiffs. Yeah, go ahead and play just a little bit of it. We're not going to watch the full 33 minutes of it, of course. Go ahead and watch a little bit of this.
Line A and line B, $55 million.
Yeah!
Initials.
Never said their name, don't know who they are.
To plaintiff Francine Wheeler. A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $24 million.
Yeah!
B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $30 million.
Yeah!
Fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Francine Wheeler and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, total $54 million.
Yeah!
Initials by juror number 1. To plaintiff Jacqueline Barden, A, defamation/slander damages, past and future, $10 million. B, emotional distress damages, past and future, $18,800,000.
Good.
Total fair, just, and reasonable damages to plaintiff Jacqueline Barden and against Alex Jones and Free Speech Systems, at line A and line B, $28,800,000. Initialed by juror.
Get those numbers up.
To plaintiff Mark Barden. A,
Go ahead and cut this. It's like 33 minutes of him doing this, and then he bitches a bunch about how oh, it's unfair or whatever. How do I want to put this?
Is it going to be that the next time we see Alex Jones in court, he's going to argue that his insurance company is responsible for all this?
Nah, that's not going to happen. The only defense I'll give for Alex Jones, well, you know what? Let's put that off for a link later. Go ahead and go to the next link. Alex Jones' lies have cost him $965 million in a second Sandy Hook trial. Connecticut jurors order Alex Jones to pay $1 billion in second Sandy Hook trial, and more might be on the way. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit. After years of delays and obstacles, 2 of the 3 defamation lawsuits against InfoWars' Alex Jones by the parents of Sandy Hook victims have finally come to trial. The first wildly unpredictable 7-day hearing ended in plaintiffs Neil Heslin and Scarlett Lewis, the parents of 6-year-old Jesse Lewis, being awarded $4.1 million in compensatory damages and $45.2 million in punitive damages. That's far less than the $150 million they were seeking, but still a decisive statement against Jones. But in the second trial, a Connecticut jury has awarded a total of $965 million in compensatory damages to 8 families, a historic amount for damages in a defamation lawsuit. Prior to this, the record amount was $274 million, awarded in a 2017 suit.
Well, yeah, because which I'm no lawyer, but from what I understand about how these cases work,
compensatory
compensatory damages is you proving a cost, which is this is actual money that
Right.
you've made, and then the punitive damages is the cherry on top.
Yeah, the punitive damages is like, you've been very bad, and now we're gonna smack you. Punitive damages, which are typically awarded in cases where the jury finds significant harm has occurred, and which can range up to 4 times the amount of compensatory damages, have not yet been declared. The third Sandy Hook trial will likely be held in Texas later this year.
Does this mean that Alex Jones is worse than lead pipes?
So that's going to be kind of a subject we're looking, not lead pipes exactly, but later on we're going to talk about some other stuff. Go ahead and scroll down a little bit. There's like going to be like a subheader, I think. There we go. Jones already lost the case by refusing to participate in his own defense. So my only actual defense that I'll make for Alex Jones is that this man is simply too fucking stupid to have ever defended himself in this circumstance. Jones has spent years fighting his way to the courtroom. He has steadily refused to participate in the discovery process for each of the 3 lawsuits, the court-mandated part of the case where the prosecution and defense have to turn over all relevant documentation to their opponent. Because of his lack of cooperation, all 3 judges eventually ruled, after years of delays, that Jones was liable to pay damages to the family. So he tried to avoid paying damages by not letting people discover like his financial holdings and everything like that. And then eventually the judges were like, well, fucking, if you're gonna like keep fighting this, we're just gonna give it to him anyways. By refusing to participate in discovery for each trial and thus refusing to disclose his financial information, Jones may have hoped to prevent the courts from determining accurate answers to those questions. He also filed for bankruptcy in April, despite making as much as $50 million annually, in a clear attempt to delay financial judgment in one of the other lawsuits. So basically, he's been trying to play this like sleight of hand with the court system, and it's so obvious and stupid that the court system was like, no, we're not gonna like fucking play along with that. One thing I do want to make clear here is Alex Jones is a stupid, disgusting person, and the stuff that he was spreading about Sandy Hook being a false flag operation is disgusting, and I don't care if he's ruined financially for the rest of his life. That means nothing to me. I would actually be happier if all the families got to like sucker punch him like 3 times, and they could like take this payment up whenever they wanted to. Like Jones could be walking down the street and like one of the families just like sucker punches him out of nowhere. That would be hilarious to me. I would follow him around with a camera crew, right?
Well, so like, what is it like? It's got to be like what, like 16 to 20 something families.
Yeah, I mean, total children and killed during Sandy Hook was 26, I believe.
Okay, so let's just say, what would that be? 52 people.
Yeah, that all have like 3 free shots at him at any given moment of time. That would be some of the most hilarious live streaming ever.
See, but what if they all like they all do it on the same day and he dies of internal trauma? Because every hour
I'm for it,
throughout.
Man. I'm for it. But
as long as it's all televised.
The other thing that's curious about this, go ahead and go to the next link. So it kind of seems like the majority of the Sandy Hook conspiracy theory is being put on Alex Jones. And I don't disagree that Alex Jones used the Sandy Hook conspiracy theories to try to make himself his own money, preyed on people who are incredibly vulnerable, having just lost their children. Yeah, as Jessica says in the chat, some of the parents killed themselves afterwards because of, you know, a combination of losing their child and then all the social stressors that were put on them because you had people like Alex Jones claiming that the Sandy Hook shooting was a conspiracy, a false flag event. The other defense, which isn't really a defense that I'm making of Alex Jones, is that it's weird that it's all being pinned on him when there are a bunch of other people who have also spread the same lie that he did. And one or two of them has kind of been held accountable for this in defamation lawsuits. But by and large, you know, you have Alex Jones, you have in the this Wikipedia article, go ahead and scroll down just a little bit. So there were two other people, one named Fetzer and one named Tracy. Those are the last names. I think Fetzer wrote a book talking about how nobody actually died at Sandy Hook. He was held accountable. Book? Yeah, he wrote a whole book on this somehow. I don't know how people write books like that. I can barely think of like a 3-paragraph article to write about how I think cities are like destroying the landscape and poisoning your mind, but somehow people manage to write full books on one shooting event. So Fetzer, I believe, wrote a whole book about it. He ended up having to pay like $450,000 in damages. But you know, to say that he's not an integral part of what Alex Jones did is interesting and weird and disingenuous in a certain way. And so my quote unquote defense of Alex Jones is more like, why aren't we holding a lot more people accountable for this kind of thing? Lots of people spread the Sandy Hook conspiracy theory lie, and a lot of people ultimately contributed to the damages being dealt to these families, the harassment of these families. And so it's kind of bizarre to me that it's all pinned on Alex Jones, who I don't think is a good person, and I'm not actually defending him in any kind of positive way. All I'm saying is, if you're going to hold Alex Jones accountable, you should be holding a lot of other people accountable as well, to the same degree that you're holding him accountable. So I wanted to look at other cases where perhaps some rhetoric has been dangerous and has led to real actual effects on people and violence acted towards people. So go ahead and go to the next link. So here we have this CNN article from July of this year. And the headline reads, China's shadow is looming over the U.S. this week. We don't really need to go into the rest of the article, but it's essentially China is the big bad other. Everything it's doing is a direct threat to the U.S. It's trying to subvert us. It's got economic designs against us, etc., etc. And then go to the next article. During the last presidential election, one of the major talking points was Biden accusing Trump of being weak on China, and Trump accusing Biden of being weak on China. Right? This has had, unfortunately, because these are people who shape the opinions of folks who have dog shit for brains, I think sometimes. But it's true that the presidential seat and the prospective presidential seat has a lot of fucking power associated with it, right? So when you have the two primary presidential candidates arguing about who is weaker on the Chinese menace, what you get is the next article. Scroll down to the headline. So the danger of anti-China rhetoric. What ended up happening is a bunch of hate crimes were perpetuated against Asian people, not even just Chinese people, Chinese immigrants or Chinese American folks, but you had because you know we're dealing with people who have dog shit for brains sometimes, right?
Yeah.
They see somebody who looks Asian and they go, "Oh, you must be from China because I hate China right now," and they attack these people. The president of the fucking United States, when he was running for the presidency, was talking this anti-Chinese rhetoric that ultimately ended up endangering real Chinese American lives through hate crimes. And so
only when the Tabasco flavored conservatives say it is it a bad thing.
Exactly. The point is you have Alex Jones, who, again, I'm not actually defending him. I was just being a shithead when I made the title. As I am wont to do sometimes, I be a shithead. But you have Alex Jones, who's this kind of like far right extreme moron in a lot of cases, who sometimes has like little nuggets of truth buried inside of whatever insane rhetoric he's passing on. And then you have someone like Joe Biden, who the libs love because he's like, oh, he's inclusive or whatever. But his rhetoric has led to damages against Asian Americans. And so where do we draw this line between we're going to hold Alex Jones accountable for, he does have a decently significant platform in which he spouts his lies and his bullshit from. And then we have the president of the United States, who also spouted lies and bullshit about China. Well, and this led to violence against Chinese people.
He sat at a desk in a not very circular room, which gives him some kind of like immunity, right?
Yeah, it's the difference between what the state accepts as the fact in a situation and what is counterfactual to what the state considers fact. I actually you know what, I've had a drink or three. I need to take my union mandated manager PP break.
Oh, the managers union.
The real thing. It's real. It's real. But we will be right back.
Yep.
You came back in the frame. You can't hear me yet because you don't have headphones on.
I don't have my headphones on.
Yeah, put your headphones on.
Yeah, but whenever I do put my headphones on, I'll have to tell you that I decided not to pee during
No,
your
I
pee
see
break.
what you did instead is you grabbed like 5 fucking beers. That's what I was gonna say. When you came back in the frame, you were carrying so many beers.
What are you, the cops?
No, absolutely. Come on, man. I'm cool. You know I'm cool. Go ahead and go to the next link. Oh yeah. You know what? This is a safe site. Go to the safe site. Advanced.
Oh yeah.
There you go. I don't know why that was blocked. That's weird. It wasn't blocked for me when I looked at it earlier. So this is an article from LimaCharlieNews.com. I don't know a whole lot about this this outlet. I tried to find it on other sources, but they were all paywalled. But this I read through this article and it makes a lot of really good points. Go ahead and scroll down to first off, we'll read the headline as we do. 14 years later, how the media sold the war in Iraq. Go ahead and scroll down to underneath that picture of Arlington. Actually, underneath that second picture of the New York Times article. So in 2015, the article has a little bit of preamble to leading up to this, but in 2015, Politico magazine ran a story on Judith Miller, the former New York Times reporter who notoriously got it totally wrong on Iraq from 2002 to 2003. Judith Miller's reporting played a crucial role in selling the Iraq War to the public. On September 7th, 2002, Miller and colleague Michael Gordon reported that Iraq has stepped up its quest for nuclear weapons and has embarked on a worldwide hunt for materials to make an atomic bomb. Miller and Gordon's source, unnamed Bush administration officials. Shortly after this article was published, Colin Powell and Donald Rumsfeld used it to promote their position. This is a thing that we push back on this podcast all the time, is unnamed intelligence sources that reporters cite, and they give no actual evidence. The evidence is in, oh, we talked to an intelligence official, and the intelligence officials told us this, so this is what we're going to report. There's never any investigation past this point, which is where journalism should actually be doing its work, but regularly and routinely nowadays, it does not. So the Politico story opens by saying it's okay that the New York Times reporter got Iraq wrong. The trouble with her new memoir is she still won't admit she actually did. So hundreds of billions of dollars and hundreds of thousands, if not millions of lives lost later. Politico absolved Miller of reporting, which contributed to those totals, but takes exception to her not admitting she was wrong. So basically, their problem is she didn't admit she was wrong. She was wrong, and it led to millions of people being displaced, hundreds of thousands of people being maimed or killed. But she really should have admitted she was wrong. Is where Politico draws their line on this, which is insane.
You can make wholesale fabrications about reality as long as you
as long as
make an on-air correction.
As long as later on, while you're standing in the river of blood you've created, you say that, oh yeah, I was wrong. Exactly. New York Times reporters were not the only ones helping the Bush administration gain support for the war in Iraq. Columnist Thomas Friedman, by the way, for those who don't know, is a fucking demon. But Thomas Friedman was also selling it from his weekly op-ed on January 5th, 2003. Friedman writes, "So I have no problem with a war for oil, provided that it is to fuel the first progressive Arab regime and not just our SUVs, and provided we behave in a way that makes clear to the world we are protecting everyone's access to oil at reasonable prices, not simply our right to binge on it." So he's more of a shit lib where it's like, well, you know, as long as it drives the price of oil down for everybody, go ahead and kill as many Rockies as you want.
Well, and bonus if it can be an affluent gay wedding destination in the Middle East too. You know.
Exactly. And so this is why I call Thomas Friedman a demon, because this is typical of how he reports on things and how he operates as a journal. It was not just the New York Times helping sell the war. The other major American newspaper, the Washington Post, published a piece by its editorial board titled "Irrefutable" on February 6, 2003. The title referred to the notion that after Secretary of State Colin L. Powell's presentation to the United Nations Security Council yesterday, it is hard to imagine how anyone could doubt that Iraq possesses weapons of mass destruction. And then you have the picture of Colin Powell holding up the vial of whatever, could be a vial of old semen for all we know. But this is an infamous little speech / testimony he gave, where he claimed that Iraq had enriched uranium, and this vial was somehow evidence of the enriched uranium.
I mean, if you smoke as much DMT as is in that vial that Colin Powell's holding, which is a vial of DMT,
yeah,
smoke all of that at
DMT,
once.
you really have to have a lot of access to pharmaceutical resources.
But you'll definitely see weapons of mass destruction in Iraq.
So the other question, and I'm not by far the first person to ask this question, is what damages should be sought against the New York Times, the Washington Post, Fox News, other news agencies who falsely reported on the existence of WMDs in Iraq. Even if you want to think about it from a nationalistic perspective of we send a bunch of people over there to get fucked up and die, even if you want to think about it from that perspective, what is, we're talking about $1 billion for 26 kids who were killed, and I'm not trying to put this into metrics of how much a child's life is worth or anything like that, but they did make that mathematical calculation of how much each child's life and the damages afterwards are worth. How does this compare to something like what news agencies, mainstream news agencies did in the lead up and conduction of the Iraq War? American lives were lost there, were they not? And so there has to be some kind of equivalent calculation that comes into play with news agencies making the case for the war in Iraq and all the death and sorrow and misery that followed from that, and what American people should be owed from that, right?
Yeah, well, and again, I'm no lawyer, but I think that editorial or editorials you can actually sue people for damages that way.
Right, but I would say if you tried to sue the editorial board of the New York Times for the reporting during the lead up to Iraq, you would get absolutely fucking nowhere. Is what I'm saying, right?
Well, it's probably because they all have the same unnamed Bush administration sources,
right? And how was, I mean, like, on on like an actual logical level, how is this any different than Alex Jones saying, "Oh, I heard from a source"? Well, the New York
it's
Times
not
said,
different.
yeah, right,
Yeah.
and I don't know that you don't disagree with that. I'm just making the case clear.
Yeah.
And then let's go ahead and go to the next link. We have Tucker Carlson says immigrants have plundered the U.S. and want to steal Americans' wealth. You have someone who is on a quasi Alex Jones level, spreading rhetoric, and Tucker Carlson is actually one of the most watched news programs.
Tucker Carlson is way more craven than Alex Jones. Tucker Carlson has beat, I think, all but maybe a handful of his cases, defamatory cases.
Without a doubt, yeah. And again, a lot of Alex Jones's loss is just because he's too fucking dumb.
Well, yeah. Like Alex Jones, his lawyers argue, or not Alex Jones, Tucker Carlson's lawyers argue that Tucker Carlson is not competent to form opinions on the things.
If you listen to this boat shoes motherfucker and you believe him, that's on you.
Yeah, you're dumber than Tucker Carlson,
right?
But Alex Jones's lawyers, I guess, they
well, it's because Alex Jones literally was too dumb to like adhere to his defense strategy's advice. But at the same time, if we're going to hold Alex Jones accountable in the way that he's been held accountable to, and I don't care really. Do I think it's a little bit extreme? Yeah. Do I care if Alex Jones gets punched in the nuts for the rest of his life until he dies? No. That's, you know, he means nothing to me, but it is interesting how unequally applied this kind of thing is when you have someone like Tucker Carlson who does way more damage on a daily basis by stoking, you know, xenophobia against immigrants, calling them illegal when they're technically not illegal. A very clear infactual statement, right?
Yeah.
All of the migrants that got human trafficked to Martha's Vineyard, they were all legal seekers of asylum. They're not illegal immigrants. They are operating legally, and they were duped into being human trafficked.
Because if they weren't here legally, the state could have just handed them over to ICE, right?
They would have been deported or whatever. There is a legal asylum process. And so every time Tucker Carlson says illegals are flooding over the border, he's lying. He's doing a lie, and this lie is dangerous, and it's led to I think it was 46 people were illegally human trafficked to Martha's Vineyard. And so what are the damages there, and why is there no case being taken up against him to seek damages out of this? And you know, my point here is, if we're going to apply the law in such a way that Alex Jones is on the hook for $1 billion in damages, then the law has missed so many fucking opportunities for damages. And how we should apply, you know, punitive damages across the board to sick, fucked up individuals like Tucker Carlson, right?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, it's probably like the biggest like failing of our court system is that it doesn't seek truth.
No, it doesn't.
It purports to, though.
Well, yeah, I mean, essentially the court system runs off of what is called legal fiction. And I don't have the time or like the notes to go over exactly what legal fiction is right now. But if you, the listener, and you, the viewer, would like to look it up, it's very interesting, and it kind of will make you disillusioned in how the legal process works when you like really look into what legal fiction is and how impactful it is on how our entire justice system runs. But again, I don't have the time to exactly go into that now. Maybe we'll do a deep dive on that. I do have a whole like dead week that I can do research on. So, you know, one of a couple of subjects that I've been toying around with looking into. Go ahead and go to the next link. We need to eventually wrap this up. In comparing the damages of someone like Alex Jones, right? $1 billion in damages. He absolutely, definitely contributed to ruining a couple of people's lives. Purdue Pharma, run by the Sacklers, reach a $6 billion deal with state attorneys general. Go ahead and scroll down to the body of the article. 9 state attorneys general have agreed to drop their objection to a deal granting immunity from opioid lawsuits to members of the Sackler family who own Purdue Pharma, the maker of OxyContin. What this is basically they were trying to do a settlement deal, settlement arrangement, in the case of whether or not Purdue Pharma basically caused the opioid crisis by lying about the addictive qualities of opioids, also making a bunch of doctors prescribe opioids to their patients when they probably didn't need opioids, especially OxyContin. That's like their fucking thing is OxyContin. So 9 states eventually just dropped their objection to the immunity of individual members of the Sackler family being not prosecuted, but open to lawsuits on this matter. Yeah, I guess prosecuted. I don't know why I
litigate it.
Yeah, litigated. There we go. That's the right word. In exchange, the family has agreed to increase the amount it pays from personal holdings from roughly $4.5 billion under a previous settlement to $6 billion.
Who are these people?
The Sacklers own Purdue Pharma. Purdue Pharma created OxyContin. OxyContin was prolifically used for a long time as a pain medicine when it probably shouldn't have. There's a whole thing about it. You can look. I mean, even John Oliver has covered this topic.
Yeah, no, it's just and I imagine that they're gonna continue to be like filthy fucking rich.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's the entire point. And the settlement that was reached said nobody can like pursue you personally for your role in Purdue Pharma's decision-making process and pushing opioids into the market.
What does that mean? Like if a lawyer like decides to like admit to I don't know, like I was there in like a weird like grape juice bath trying to like warn this person that they were legally liable for the death that they're causing.
Yeah, they're off the hook
to that
for...
in their suicide note, you know.
Yeah, they're off the hook for anything ever again because the settlement was reached. So let's say you're Josiah Sackler, that's a name I made up, and you're like the chief operational officer of sales for opioids, and you said, hey, let's bribe a bunch of doctors to give out OxyContin when they shouldn't give out OxyContin.
Tell them that it's less addictive than heroin, which like doesn't it turn out that like all these like new designer opioids like they're all like 100 times, 1,000 times more addictive than just good old fashioned heroin.
good old fashioned black tar heroin. Yeah, I mean,
you can kick that stuff.
Right. Because your bones hurt afterwards. Yeah, I don't know like whether or not it's more addictive. I believe it is, but I don't know to what degree it is more addictive.
Yeah, I don't remember actually.
Yeah, but that's neither like here or there. Doctors were essentially bribed to sell OxyContin, and if you are Josiah Sackler, a person I made up, and you were in charge of the market decision to bribe a bunch of doctors to pay to bribe a bunch of doctors to prescribe OxyContin, you're off the hook now. Nobody can ever come against you with a lawsuit.
Yeah.
And when we talk about like the scope of damages, right? So the Sacklers have agreed to pay $6 billion, right? And you might say, oh, well, that's 6 times as much as Alex Jones is having to pay for his horrible lies against the Sandy Hook family. Go ahead and go to the next link. Opioid overdoses kill 44 people a day. That's like 150% of people who were killed at Sandy Hook. And again, I'm not diminishing how many people were killed at Sandy Hook, how many children were killed at Sandy Hook, but we have to also recognize that opioid overdoses kill more people every fucking day than were killed at Sandy Hook. And the most that the Sackler family has had to pay out for this, spreading lies, spreading misinformation, and causing real actual damages to people, $6 billion is the most they end up having to pay for this. So it's a bizarre misalignment of how justice should or could be applied in any kind of reasonable way.
Yeah, like I always kind of I really felt bad for like the Afghan heroin producer, you know?
Right.
Because
we really like to demolish his trade over there, you know?
Yeah, well, I mean, like, you know, like we might like burn like his entire like income down, maybe kill some of his family members. You know, as I think the legal term is restitution.
And I would like to point out, not you and I, we didn't do that over there.
No. I mean, like
you're talking the royal we of the United States.
Yes, the very royal we. But this $6 billion, I don't think that it's going to accomplish the same thing as like killing like 3 of their nephews and burning their house down while they're in it.
No, absolutely not. Yeah, no, it's right. And you know, when you talk about the size and scale of what Purdue has done in America versus what Alex Jones has done, which disgusting, vile, evil, of course.
Or the brown heroin farmer, easier to empathize with than Alex Jones.
Sure, yeah. And yeah, I'm not on the side of heroin farmers either, of course. But yeah, I mean, the damages being sought for Alex Jones versus the damages being sought for something as insidious as the national opioid crisis, which kills 44 people a day in America. Yeah, it's bizarre. It really is bizarre. It's unconscionable. It sucks. It shows how we don't actually have a justice system. We just have like I don't know, made up system of bullshit. I don't know how else to say that really. But yeah, so that concludes my defense of Alex Jones, which is Alex Jones is too dumb, and also more people should be held accountable for the same thing he did.
Theoretically. If an old person 2 hours away from dementia that wears a black dress tells us to care about it, we will.
True. Yes.
Yeah. It's
so
the promise we made with society.
so as we try to do sometimes on the podcast, and by we I mean me, when I'm looking at all the links I put together, I'm like, man, that's depressing. I should try to do something fun. We have one last link, which thankfully popped up today.
What an affirmation slut you are.
I am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I need somebody to tell me that I didn't make them want to kill themselves.
I'm sorry that I tell you at least 3 times a night that I'm going to kill myself because of
yeah,
I apologize.
Those messages, honestly, I have on auto reply now.
Well, previously successful. Now that I'm wise to the game, though.
Well, no. From here on out, I'm gonna totally reply to those messages. Go ahead and go to the last link of the night.
Oh Jesus! What the fuck?
I don't know what's going on with that thing. I chose this link because it has a video attached to it. But the headline is protesters arrested for throwing soup on Van Gogh's Sunflowers painting and gallery. The protest was organized by Just Stop Oil, a group that aims to stop the UK government from engaging in new oil and gas licenses and projects.
One Van Gogh to stop oil production.
Yeah, I mean, if that was what actually happened.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know it didn't happen.
Right.
But I mean, theoretically, if it did, if things were real.
Go ahead and restart the video.
It's amazing what you can build on AW.
God, John, the advertisements.
Hey, I pre-screened
a couple of the links. I saw you do it.
Yeah. Most of them.
What is worth more? Art or life?
What's the one?
Is it worth more than food? Worth more than justice?
So I'm just gonna say, is this somebody?
Hate her voice.
Well, no. I'm just gonna say.
No, you can hate her voice. That's fine. Go ahead.
I bet you anything that she's also done performance art about the value of art.
Oh, without a doubt, yeah.
Yeah, as she devalues art.
Well, what's worth more, life or art?
The thing that I am doing.
Yeah.
Are you more concerned about the protection of a painting? Fuel is unaffordable to millions of cold, hungry families. They can't even afford to heat a tin of soup.
What? That's it?
Yeah. It's amazing what you can build on AW.
And I don't think we really need more out of that. So anyways, what I would like to encourage these young peoples to do, if they're willing to throw tomato soup at a Van Gogh painting, and again, or not again, for the first time maybe ever on the podcast, I don't give a shit if you ruin art. I think art is communal and art can change over time, and if you the tomato juice only hit the glass pane in front of the painting. Spoiler alert, most famous paintings are covered by glass.
Yeah, they've been dealing with people wanting to throw tomato soup on the painting.
Well, probably not just tomato soup, maybe also chicken soup.
Yeah. No.
In times of excess, the protesters throw chicken soup on it because chicken costs just a little bit more. But
yeah, no,
yeah,
I mean, like,
they've learned.
yeah, I imagine they've been putting glass on the paintings for a while now.
Right. So, didn't actually ruin the piece of art, which I don't think a lot of news agencies are really covering that aspect of it. They're more like, "Oh my God, can you believe precious Van Gogh painting assaulted by tomato soup? Who gives a shit?" I saw the other day, and this is kind of like an aside. Why am I losing her name? The Mexican painter gal, Frida Kahlo.
Yeah.
Somebody bought her painting as an NFT, and in order to make it permanently an NFT, they lit the original painting on fire. Basically to ensure that there's no physical copy of the painting anymore, and it's now exclusively on the metaverse as an NFT. And the painting was valued at like a couple of million, and I would like to think that Frida Kahlo would see her painting being valued at a couple of $1 million, and she would light it on fire herself for that point. Because I think ultimately art is kind of a communal experience, and I think the way we value art is really like damaging to the arts in general, and it creates this incredibly toxic atmosphere in which the arts operate in. Like the art community, quote unquote, is essentially a bunch of people trying to sell something to rich people, so that rich people can have like an untaxable asset that they can sell later on. It's all a fucking garbage industry, and I don't think that Van Gogh is sacred, and I wouldn't care if they actually splashed tomato juice on the actual painting of Van Gogh's. What I will say though is if you want to make an actual difference in the world, you don't go to the London Gallery of Art and throw tomato soup at a painting. You redacted a pipeline until it is no longer functional.
Yeah.
If that's how if you really want to end the oil project, do something substantial. Obviously, you're willing to go to jail for it in the first place. I'm too old to go to jail. The younger kids would beat me up and bully me and call me old fucker or something.
So you're saying that they should have smeared their feces on a painting as they took credit for a terrorist attack?
I'm saying if these kids told me they were behind the Nord Stream 2 bombing, I wouldn't begrudge them. I wouldn't begrudge them.
But you don't think that they should switch from tomato soup to Taco Tuesday diarrhea?
I mean that would be funnier and harder to clean up. The act of splashing something on a painting, especially a painting covered by glass.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well, and nobody was nobody was horrified at all. Like nobody gasped.
Yeah, it's just a spectacle.
And the I imagine that the security guards, and the security guards are probably like before these versions pretended to face something they actually cannot.
I fucking hate or at least the guy who's who's probably madly in love with the chick that actually talked.
I'm pretty sure they were both lady, or they I don't think anybody was a cis male there.
I don't know, man. Either way,
nobody had a penis.
For sure.
Yeah.
The chick's voice is just grating because it's in that like real high British voice. What are you going to value more, art or life? Yeah, probably like I know that the the organization, the shirt that they were that they were wearing was "Just Stop Oil." That organization is owned by the heiress of a oil baron, which I can see both sides of this, right? Which is like, okay, it's cool that you inherited all this oil money and now you're anti-oil, but like the projects you're funding don't actually fucking do anything, so it's all performative. And then like the other side of it is, wow, you took all that oil money and you decided to be like a privileged prick about it.
They're the smarter Alex Jones of influence mongering.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I had for tonight. Again, we are off next week. I will be attending a wedding. Some pictures of Danko and I together in the flesh may arise on social media. Nobody knows. Also, some other people. I won't dox any of them, but some other friends of the show are going to be at this wedding, so it'll be a good time.
Why didn't I get invited to the wedding?
You don't know either of the people being married,
but
is probably the reason.
But I know you, and I know Danko.
You're talking so deep into the microphone.
Yeah, I mean, it's because I'm very sad.
I can probably try to pull some strings if you want, man. I don't know. It's a very invite-only affair, but if you want to fly out to San Francisco in the middle of next week, let me know.
I have a cousin that lives in San Francisco. I do, in fact.
So made
up. But I mean, I'm guessing you're not going to pay for me to get there.
Nope.
So you want me to show up?
No, I didn't want you to show up. I never invited you. Don't you dare fucking twist my words around like that. So I might be drunk, but I am not that stupid. Anyways, it is time to sign off.
Management wins again.
Yeah. Management's been around the block once or twice, all right? It is time to sign off. So pitches. Truncata Workshop. Danko runs it. I attend all the time. In some ways, no, we don't co-run it at all. But if you reach out to Danko or myself, and you want to try out the Truncata Workshop, if you reach out to either of us through DMs, we will give you a link to the meeting. We go over theoretical readings. Right now, we're doing a series on Lovecraft and a bunch of philosophers. We've read Hegel, Cart, which nobody was happy about, and Lacan. As well as some others, I believe, but I'm blanking on their names right now. So we're doing all this juxtaposed with Lovecraft's work. It's been a pretty interesting and fun time. So if you wanna join us for the workshop, we also at the end of the workshop go over works submitted by the participants if you submitted work. And we give critiques on them. We give useful feedback a lot of times, or we do writing exercises that help people work on their own craft of writing. And we don't have any like hang-ups on whether or not you write it differently than other people. We just work together to find the best way that you can write for yourself. So Truncata Workshop, patreon.com/TRUNCATA. And then the second pitch is the Benzo Rehab Dungeon is and always will be a free broadcast. However, if you would like to donate to this project, I basically put everything I get from the Benzo Rehab Dungeon back into the production of it in one way or another. But if you would like to donate to this project, you can go to patreon.com/Benzo Rehab Dungeon. You can give as little or as much as you like. It doesn't get you anything special, and I like to be upfront about that, because if you're going to give me money, I at least want to promise you that I'll do the podcast, but that's just about it. And with that being said, John, do you have anything? Or
I did, but you took so fucking long that I forgot everything that I was going to say.
Wow, it's amazing that happened.
Yeah, no, it was wild. I actually my mind was excited, but I don't know. You just kept selling and selling and selling, and
yep, that's what I am, a sales machine. When
yeah,
I tell when I tell the listener and viewer, go ahead and give me money for the Benzo Rehab Dungeon, that doesn't give you anything. That's me selling. I'm making sales right there.
Yeah, no. I mean, in fact, I'm glad that I stole $20 from you last week.
Sorry, what?
I said because you sell so much. I'm glad that I stole $20 from you.
Because
week.
you didn't show up. Yeah, I get it. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Thanks for that. As always, we love you very much. Please take your medicine.
Take Danko's too, and share the free samples with any 10 to 12-year-old somebody who easily develops habits. Share the medicine with them, definitely
during Halloween.
Yep.
Put it in their candy bars. Put the medicine in their candy bars.
Do not shove benzos into Reese's peanut butter cups. Do not
wink
do that.
Wink. Yeah, got it. Cool.
Yes.
Well,
unless they're in a lobster costume, then they're cool, and you can put as many benzos in that Reese's cup as you want.
They gotta have like a sign of Jordan Peterson though, like some kind of like
yes
pass and response sort of thing.
Yeah,
like,
if you're wearing,
do you serve the Lord of lobster?
I don't know why you think it'd be that intelligent. I mean, it'd have to be just like a shot of bearcat pee, like poured on the forehead, and a lobster fucking outfit. That's all you need to know that you're a Jordan Peterson follower.
There you go. All right. Well, we laid it all out here. We spoke the truth. If anybody has any damages from us saying that pouring bear piss on your forehead and wearing a lobster suit is how you identify as a Jordan Peterson fan, please feel free to take it up with our lawyers. You can find their contact information at
Get fucked. I don't have any money.